One man has lost a foot and another is in a serious condition, undergoing emergency treatment for terrible injury suffered in a Queensland shark attack, and it comes just a month after more than 150 drum lines were pulled from the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. Queensland's Shadow Treasurer Tim Mander joins me now. Tim, good morning to you. Thanks very much for joining us. So do the drum lines need to be put back in?
Well, good morning, Peter. Well, something needs to happen. The Palaszczuk Labor government has taken out those drum lines and has had no plan B. And of course, that means that swimmers are put at risk, but not only lives, but our tourist industry has been put at risk. I mean, these headlines around the world that people are being attacked by sharks in one of our prime tourist areas is just terrible. And so something needs to be done.
So when you say something needs to be put back in, are you referring to drum lines there? Do you think they need to go back in, despite what the federal court suggested, that it makes no difference?
Well, we've offered alternative, and that is to put in smart drum lines. These are allowable. These are happening around the country, and they will work. The Palaszczuk Labor government has no plan B. They have taken these drum lines out and it had no alternative. So in the meantime, it puts swimmers at risk and it puts the future of our tourism industry at risk as well.
Just for those who don't know, what's the difference between drum lines and smart drum lines?
Well, smart drum lines send out a signal to officials who can come then and release the sharks. That's the problem. It's about how you release the sharks. But this has been trialled before in other state jurisdictions with some success, and it is an alternative. The Palaszczuk Labor government has no alternative whatsoever, and they've just left swimmers open to attacks by sharks.
This is the fifth shark attack that's taken place in that area over the past 12 months. Is there any kind of shark control program that could actually work in that area?
Well, we believe these smart drum lines need to be trialled and experimented with. It's better than doing nothing, which is what the Palaszczuk Labor government's plan is at the moment. We must try to do everything we can to protect swimmers and, of course, protect our tourism industry.
What about drones?
Well, drones would be an alternative as well. It's better than doing nothing, which is what's happening at the moment. But Peter, these smart drum lines have been used in other jurisdictions with some success. But for some reason, the Palaszczuk Labor government refuses to even consider them. We just can't have what's happening at the moment, where swimmers are being put at risk and our tourism industry is under threat.
OK, just finally on this topic, let's say you win the election next year. What do you do, and has it all been costed?
Well, there is a federal issue with regards to the original decision made by the federal court. I mean, the federal government needs to play its role there in trying to get that reversed. But if that's not reversed, we will put smart drum lines in, and there is no cost too much to make sure that we protect swimmers and protect our tourism industry.
OK, have you got a ballpark?
It will be insignificant compared to the benefits to our tourism industry, Peter.
But have you got a number?
No, I don't have that number at the top of my head, but it will be an investment worth making.
OK, speaking of investments, I suppose, or costs to the taxpayer, if I can put it that way, $23 million is going to be the cost to a taxpayer. This is following the announcements yesterday by the Premier that donations and campaign spending is expected to be capped. What are your thoughts on this?
Well, this is another way that the Palaszczuk government is trying to rig the next election. They will do anything to try to make sure they stay in power. This is a corrupt reforms that they've brought in, or so-called reforms, because what it does is that it limits the spending abilities of the opposition parties. So this allows the Labor Party and the trade union movement, which is affiliated with the Labor Party, to technically outspend the opposition by 26 times, because they have 26 affiliated unions. They can all contribute $1 million each to an election campaign, which opposition parties don't have that privilege.
But before yesterday, correct me if I'm wrong, but before yesterday, wasn't it true, or isn't it true, that unions and affiliated groups could basically spend as much as they like or donate as much as they like? So wouldn't caps be a good thing?
Well, if it was a genuine level playing field, there might be an argument for it, Peter. But what they've done is that they've limited entities, political parties and other entities, to $1 million per election campaign. Well, non-Labor parties don't have other entities. The Labor Party has the 26 in Queensland, the 26 affiliated trade unions. So what this means is it limits the opposition with regards to their investment, but it allows the Labor Party and its union affiliates to invest, as I said, 26 times more than what their opposition can.
The Premier said that it increases transparency and reduces the influence of large donors. Are there any types of better integrity measures that you would suggest?
Well, we live in a democracy, Peter, and we believe that everybody has a right to be involved in that democracy and to be able to make donations if they believe that is what they want to do. What this government has done is limited people's rights to be involved in the democratic process and at the same time slugged taxpayers over $23 million. I don't think most Queenslanders would be comfortable with taxpayers paying for political campaigns.
OK, if you win the election just finally, will you roll it back in the way that Campbell Newman did?
Well, we will be voting against these changes that will be put through for the parliament because we think they're undemocratic. And then there'll be this law and quite a number of other laws that, of course, we'll be reviewing afterwards, and there'll be significant changes made to them.
All right, Tim Mander, the Shadow Treasurer in Queensland. I really appreciate your time this morning going through a couple of quite hot issues that are taking place in Queensland at the moment. Tim, thank you.